Hola, hola todos. I hope you're doing well. I'm so happy to have you back here today, and I'm really excited to be talking about today's topic, which is specifically catering to first generation college students and how to grow your social media while in college. Because here's the thing, I've always said this over and over and over again. College students, especially when you play the college card, whether you're an undergrad or grad student, there is so many opportunities for you. Yes, you are studying for your major. Yes, you are networking. Yes, you are meeting very cool people. But just the way a student's class schedule can be very flexible, it allows for certain awesome things to become available for you, especially because you are on a college, university campus where there are so many resources around you, whether it's a place to brainstorm your content in the library, whether it's a place to record you going to get your daily cafecito at the coffee shop. There's just so much, and these types of conversations are the kinds I wish I had specifically when I was an undergrad, because as many of you know, I started in community college, then I transferred to a UC, started a master's, and then went ahead and enrolled in a teaching credential program. But regardless, I wish I would have started my content creation journey when I was an undergrad, especially because I was living at UC Santa Barbara. So I was on a beautiful campus, coffee shops around me, coffee cards, awesome amigas, great connections, really cool majors. And with all of that, I had the blueprint needed for me to just start content. But again, as many of us know, it's never too late to start something, especially when it means starting something that feels really aligned with you. And I also want to share this too, especially being first generation students. A lot of the times our parents come from different countries to here, the US, to seize a better life. And then for us, it's important to continue that legacy and make the most of the opportunities that are present for us. In this case, for many of us, it's our higher education so that we could have more variety of career options after we graduate in comparison to those that didn't complete a college degree here in the United States. And with you having your lived experiences as a first gen, as a minority, and being on a college campus where yes, there are ups and downs, but again, there's resources and opportunities waiting for you, that in itself can help you get started with creating your social media while being a first-gen student, because you never know what's going to happen. Once you graduate from undergrad, maybe you want to go to grad school. Maybe you want to be able to utilize your social media as a side hustle if you already weren't utilizing it as a side hustle while being enrolled in college. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur in the social media space. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's so important for us, especially as first-gen, not to have all our eggs in one basket. Yes, get your college degree. Yes, build the networking connections, but what are you doing to utilize and create your digital blueprint? And a lot of that can go back to social media, your personal branding, the type of content you want to make. Maybe you're creating content to have a professional digital portfolio to present alongside you when you're sitting in interviews, the jobs that you want to get. Again, you want to keep social media as that side hustle while you're exploring the different career options for you. Or you eventually want to have social media as your full-time job. And if you were able to create an audience, even if it's just a couple hundred, couple thousand people while you were creating content as university students, then when you graduate, and if you keep that community with you by being consistent and showing up on social media, you never know, within a few years, this could be your full-time job. Whatever the case may be, I know I shared a lot, but let's actually get down to the action plan. So numero uno, I want you to identify your ideal platform to get started. So we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have Pinterest, we have Lemonade, we have YouTube Shorts. Now, the reason why I want you to experiment with getting started with short form content if you are in the beginning stages of creating your social media presence is because a lot of the times with short form content, it feels and can be a lot easier to create a community with that. And then once you have your community on that short form platform, which again, it could be 100, 500 people, 1,000 people, whatever the number may be, it's a lot easier to then have them migrate, transfer over to a platform that has longer content such as YouTube videos and podcasts in comparison to first starting on long form and then creating short form. Everybody's story is different, but for example, myself, when I started Cafecito con Estrellita, I started with my podcast first. I had so much fun and I was creating episodes every single week during season 1. However, even though I was putting in the time and the effort to create my podcast episodes, people weren't finding me as quickly as I wanted them to. Then I eventually created an Instagram, started sharing clips of my podcast episodes as well as consejitos, aka reminders, and resources that could serve as a support for first-gen students navigating higher education. And after some time, my Instagram was able to pick up an audience. And then because I was already so used to producing my content, podcast, and then Instagram, everything just slowly started to come and happen. Now with my experiences, which again, I started with the podcast and then I created my short form platform, which at the time was Instagram before I got onto TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all that fun stuff. If I would have just switched it around and just start with short form content first with creating my community, letting people know I'm also a first generation Latina. I just graduated with undergrad. I transitioned into my teaching credential program. I'm also going through distance learning. If I would have just really led with that and built my community like that on Instagram, after some time, I then could have brought up, hey, so I have a podcast now. It's catered towards first-gen students, and we have some awesome interviews and consejos. I feel like it wouldn't have taken that long to have received my 64,000 podcast downloads. So with all this to say, if you are a busy first-generation college student, when you are trying to figure out and identify which social media platform you want to start on first, please consider the short form content and then go from there. All right, numero dos. Set time aside for you to brainstorm and create your content. Now, one of the beauties of short form content is, again, as long as you have consistency and your content has value, you will inevitably create your community, whatever that may look like for you. I know, especially for a lot of us first-gen students, we tend to not just go to school full-time, but also have jobs, whether they're part-time, full-time jobs, multiple part-time jobs, as well as extracurriculars, whatever the case may be for you. Regardless, I want you to just sit down, especially if you feel like content creation is aligned with you and it's something you want to pursue or get started with now and see where it takes you in the long run. Really, please, as your days are coming to an end, or even if they're getting started, sit down and figure out, okay, how often do I want to brainstorm my content? Do I want to do it over the weekend, so 2 times a week, and just brainstorm everything so you can go during the week? Or do you want to take it day by day, brainstorm 1 hour a day, what different types of content you want to do so that you can be producing content, whether it's twice a week, 3 times a week, every single day. Full transparency, with Cafecito con Estrellita, in the beginning, I was putting out content on my short form platforms every single day. So every day I was working on my content, brainstorming / creating at least 1 hour a day while working and also going to school. Ahora, número tres. I want you to really sit down and think about your why. Now you're probably thinking, why didn't I mention the why the first time around? It's because at the end of the day, it's important to look at the whole picture of your life, where you're at, and how you can go about this whole journey. Maybe right now during this specific semester or quarter, you feel like your time might be more limited because maybe you picked up an internship, but this internship is literally only for 1 semester, or maybe you're taking super tedious classes, so maybe this time may not be the best. Regardless, even if content is something you're thinking of in the long run, it's important for you to sit down and consider looking back at number 1 and number 2, like we mentioned, figuring out what platform you would like to eventually start on, and 2, how your schedule could potentially look like, whatever the time may be. So now we're gonna sit on our why. So once you sit down, look at all the logistics and see like, okay, I can do it during this time, this way, using this platform. But what is your why? Why are you doing this? Are you doing it to create that professional digital footprint for you to have when you're sitting in job interviews and you really want to make sure that you stand out from other interviewees? A lot of the times that could look like having a passion project while being a recent grad with your different experiences, whether it's volunteering or internships. And trust me when I say this, passion projects do go a long way, and passion projects could be anything from podcasting, a YouTube channel, or even creating a social space with a mission, with a trajectory, whatever that is for you, right? But regardless, at the end of the day, with the experiences that you created while having your social media and you want to do it more in a professional sense, having that as your passion project while you're interviewing could be a huge game changer for you. Are you doing it because you want to have a side hustle while you're in school? You want to eventually turn the side hustle into a full-time job, have a media company, use social media as that funnel for you to eventually have a product-based business, whatever it may be for you. You want to do it to enhance your tech skills. Again, whether you're sitting in the job market, whether you want to create your own stuff, enhancing your tech skills with utilizing a camera, figuring out editing softwares, building your technical skills can be very important, very crucial, and having social media can do that for you. And again, do you want to build your resume? Whatever that is for you, especially as first gen, because the opportunities are endless for you, really sit down, consider, figure it out. What is your why? And go from there. All right, lastly, número cuatro. What kind of content do you want to make? Now, going back or really just highlighting one of the key points from this whole video, as a first generation college student, the opportunities are endless for you. I know, juggling classes, working, having home responsibilities, it can feel like so much, but I really want you to remember that it is a wonderful privilege to be studying for an education. It is also a wonderful privilege to have options of different paths that you could pursue and not only break generational cycles because you're doing that, but also build a happier life for yourself, regardless of all the crazy chaos that tends to happen in this world. So with all that being said, if you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to talk about on my content, on my short form content that could eventually turn to long form content, what do I want to talk about? Maybe you are a young Latina in STEM, you're getting your degree in software engineer, you want to create a social space so that other Latinas, minority women can come together and share community by you sharing your experiences and tips and tricks on how you've been navigating your software engineer major. This can also go for majors such as psychology, sociology, whatever it is. You can highlight on your social media page lifestyle, the types of outfits you like to wear to your classes, the type of makeup looks you like to do before you go to class. You can also make short form content highlighting what it's like to live a life of a busy working first generation student. You can make content about working, studying tips for working full-time students. You can also create content about the pros and cons on the type of school you chose to go to, and then continue on making other videos about the different pros and cons that you've researched about, or even talk to other friends you may have that are going to different schools than you and make videos and content highlighting that. Let's say you're a nursing student, but you have a passion in crocheting or a passion for baking. You can even make your content about that so that you can keep your school life away from your social media life if that's what you want to do. So that way when you create content and you kind of just want to have a little breather, maybe you're crocheting or your baking content can do that for you and your audience. Regardless, the opportunities are truly endless for you. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed our conversation, hence me sitting in the camera talking to you, please don't forget to subscribe to the Cafecito con Estrellita YouTube channel, where we love and always support first gen. If you would like to work with me on a one-on-one basis, please check out the Cafecito con Estrellita membership. I will be linking it down below. We can definitely help you with next steps in regards to navigating higher education paths or career exploration. We can even support you in your social media journey as a working college student. Muchísimas gracias, cuídense y hablamos pronto. Adiós.